Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ashley. Um, it's been a while, hasn't it? So, today I thought I'd go into the story of why I'm piecing my life back together again. And as you know from videos beforehand, my mom kicked me out at 13. My dad, I never really knew. And so I was in placements and jail, and then I went to my grandma's at 15 to 18, and then she kicked me out like right after my birthday, and I was living in a rundown crack dealing motel where it was in a really good neighborhood, and any motel is going to be like that. And you knew I was working at Menards, and my grandma was a psycho, and like I was always working my butt off to please her. You guys know that, right? But one day after a 40-hour work week, I had one day off, and it was a Thursday, and I had to go in to the farm where she lived and rebuild a fence that got knocked down in the flooding, which it was like 98 degrees out, and I got there at 7 a.m. and I worked till about 5 p.m. where I had to call quits because I had a feeling I was going to get heat stroke. So I went back to my motel room, and I was going to bed, which I didn't sleep at all that night because I was throwing up and burning alive, and I did not feel good. So, knowing me, I don't call into work a lot. Rarely ever do I call into work. And Friday comes around, and I'm scheduled to work 12 to 9, because we close at 9, but we don't really get out of there till like 10, because we have a whole bunch of crap to do. And I called in at 6:30 with the store open. I said, hey, I can't work my shift today, just giving you... I gave them about a 6 hour heads up, and they were fine with it. Well, then my grandma called me to make sure I was up and getting ready for work about 8 o'clock, and I told her that I was going, because if I would have told her I wasn't, she would have showed up at my motel room and killed me. And so I lied to her. Then I booked a doctor's appointment, and I went back to trying to sleep, which still didn't happen. And about 1 o'clock, because my doctor's appointment was at 3, I got up and started getting ready. 2 o'clock, I was going to Hy-Vee. I got gas, and then I got a phone call as I'm filling up my gas tank. My grandma was at my work. She had me on speaker, and she basically was telling my boss that I was around town whoring around and all these bullcrap lies. So then my boss fired me. And she then calls me back when she gets out of my work, and starts telling me that she's taking my car back. And what I mean by this is I paid about $6,000 to get the car from her, which wasn't even worth that much. It was a 1997 Chevy Blazer, which I had to put about $6,000 worth of repairs in to begin with. So the car shouldn't even be worth more than $500, but I got it from her anyway for $6,000. Then I put about $6,000 worth of repairs in, and like, I didn't know that, because in Nebraska you have to be 19 for legal age. I didn't know that at 18 or at 17 when I bought the car that I could have my name on the title. I thought I had to be legal age limit because of insurance-wise crap. But yeah, she basically lied to me and fucked me out of that. So then I go to the doctor's office around 2:30 trying to keep my head together, and I told her she could take the car back at like 3:30 when I got back from the doctor's office, because the motel was only a block away. And she's just blowing up my phone, so I put it on silent. And I go into the pharmacy to get my meds, because I was also really sick from this thing called cellulitis. So I had to pick up my antibiotics, which were also making me sick, because it's just a long story, but cellulitis is like this skin disease, and it can turn deadly instantly, so, like, I had to take care of that, which work understood that, because I always, like, made up my shifts that I called in for by working a double and whatever. Anyway, so I go into the pharmacy. I'm trying to keep myself together because it felt like everything I had was being swept out from under my feet. I owed rent in 2 weeks, and I only had, like, $50, and rent was $700, and I was crumbling. And then I got my meds, and they were trying to comfort me, and I was sitting, not in the waiting room, but if you go down the hallway where they call you, and then it leads to the nurse's station, there's also separate chairs that you could sit there out of the way of everybody else if you kind of just need to, like, be in private while waiting for the doctor. And so I was sitting there, kind of in the hallway type waiting room, and my grandma shows up, and I can hear her because the front desk where you check in is just right around the corner. And she's screaming and hollering for me and asking for me, and so the nurse that was literally about to call my name and take me back to the room looked at me, and she knew what was going on because I had told front desk, and they took me up there. And I had the keys to the car, but my purse with all my identification and everything in it, and, like, all my shit was in the back seat. And the window was sort of rolled down, but, like, you couldn't break into it unless you were sitting there, like, angling your arm a certain way or whatever. She had grabbed my purse, all my identification, and basically said that I am not getting that back until I give her the keys. And she pushed me under the desk and attacked me. I gave her the keys, and she threw the purse. Well, the nurse gave her the keys because she told me to go, like, get away from her, and she gave her the purse, but then all my shit that was in the back seat I never got back. And I had just filled the car up with, like, $50 worth of gas, too. And she took off. And then the doctor called me back, and basically, called the police, and then the police took me to the police station with the CPS, and they told me to get the hell out of Fremont, which wasn't an option on $50. And I sat there that weekend trying to figure out what I was going to do. Monday came around, and I applied for government assistance. I was denied because I had just worked a full 6 months. I was proven okay for disability and unemployment. I guess I didn't qualify for. And I got food stamps, but it's like $90 a month, and that's not nothing. And then Friday rolls around, so it's been like a full week, and she shows up at my motel. She's banging on the door and threatening me and threatening to kill me, and I literally went into the little closet because the motel room's like one room, if you didn't know, with a small bathroom and closet connected, and I went into a closet where there was no window, and I called the police, and by the time they arrived, she was pulling out, so they couldn't really do anything. And by Monday, that next Monday, I had a protection order filed against her, and my mom took guardianship of me, which then she dipped state again and is MIA. She's not even here to help me. And my dad told me to go to hell, and I lost my motel room because I couldn't come up with rent. So then I moved into a friend's where I am now, and they've been really generous, and I got a job at the motel Thursday, and I've been working my ass off, doubles constantly, and it's hard. It really is, and I gotta figure out how to pay insurance bills and how to basically get a car and get glasses and get my own place so I'm not hogging up theirs, and get furniture for my place because all my shit was, yeah. So it's hard right now, but I'm surviving. I suppose. But yeah, so that's basically the story on how I'm getting my life back together. Because literally, growing up, I had no one, so I had to work for everything I had. And then she comes along and wipes it all out from underneath me, so now I'm starting over from scratch and working for everything again. And sometimes I just wonder if it's worth it. So that's my little story time. But I'll see you guys in the future. Bye.